Walking in love. We've been talking a lot about it, and we're going to wrap it up today. So part 1, we talked about what walking in love is and how we can do it. Part 2, we talked about the pursuit. Are we eagerly pursuing it? And, is it a huge part of our walk as a believer? And then part 3, we talked about 2 really good New Testament examples of people who we can think about and look to as examples of how we can truly walk in love in some of the hardest situations. We talked about Jesus and we talked about Stephen. And today for part 4, we're just going to wrap things up. And the main thought that is coming to me to kind of wrap things up is how, we hear a lot about self-care these days and how we need to take care of ourselves. But when a lot of times when that is talked about, it's talked about in, self is me. But truly, the ultimate form of self-care that I think that we can have as self-care is to walk in love and to stay out of offense and out of unforgiveness. Because when we are walking in love, that protects us spiritually, it protects us mentally, and it protects us physically. It protects all the parts of us when we stay out of those things. And when we make it our pursuit, like Paul talked about, Paul told us in 1 Corinthians 14:1 to eagerly pursue love, above all the other things. Then he went on to tell us to pursue the, spiritual gifts. But first, are we pursuing love? Are we getting the basics down? Are we doing what Jesus really told us to do, which is to walk in love? And, there's 7 things as believers, that 7 duties from Scripture that I believe here are our duties to our enemy. We are to love them, to bless them, to do good to them, to pray for them, to lend to them, to be kind to them, and to be dutiful to them. So, for your ultimate form of self-care, walking in love, are you doing these things to everyone around you? Everyone around you, are you doing these things for them, no matter what they're doing to you? Are you praying for them? Are you loving them? Are you being kind to them? Are you lending to them with, without expecting something back and that kind of a thing? Are you doing those things? I think that's so important to think about. And there's just a couple really powerful quotes that I always kind of go back to when I'm thinking about love and when I'm having a hard time maybe letting something go. And so I just want to read those to you, and I just would have you maybe think about them, and just maybe it will encourage you in the way that it has me. So this is a quote from, I talked in one of the earlier videos about a book by John Bevere called The Bait of Satan. And there's another really good book that John Bevere wrote, which is called How to Respond When You Feel Mistreated. And it's a really good book, I think, again, along the lines of how to deal with, when people hurt us. And then one of the quotes in the book say this. It says, "And if showing such kindness to people who have dragged you and your feelings through the mud makes you feel uncomfortable or even taken advantage of, remember what Jesus went through for you." And that just really convicted me at a time where I needed to hear it, because I was having a hard time, letting something go that I felt that someone had, done to me. And when I read that, I was like, ooh, again, it puts the responsibility back on me, where the responsibility does lie with walking in love and my choice, and thinking about, here I am whining and complaining about something that's really not significant. And again, the truth is, it doesn't matter. I have a responsibility to walk in love and to forgive no matter what I think that someone has done to me. And the other thing is to remember that, forgiveness is not pretending like it didn't happen or that it didn't hurt, because that's just lying. I'm not saying, it didn't hurt or that it didn't happen. But forgiveness is the decision to release a debt regardless of how you feel. So regardless of how you feel, you're making that choice. So again, back to 1 Corinthians 14:1. are we all going to choose to eagerly pursue love with everything inside of us so that our faith is going to work? Because without love, our faith's not going to work. Are we going to eagerly pursue it? And are we going to make that choice every day that we're going to continue to walk in love and to grow in love by action? This is not something, just as a reminder, that we can just pray about every day and say, Lord, just help me to do it, without us doing something on our part. So he is going to help us as we act and use our faith, in action, to do those things to people who mistreat us and hurt us and all of those things. So I just pray that you've been encouraged by this little series on walking in love, and that you continue to grow in your love along with me, because I know this has really helped me just to keep hearing it, and it's something that I have to continually look at. It's a topic that I always want to keep in front of me, with what the Word says about it, so that I can keep growing in love and I can stay walking in line with God and his ways, and just not have any of those walls built up between me and him, which is what unforgiveness and offense will do. So hope you guys have enjoyed and learned a lot about walking in love.